We're going to talk about color this morning. Larry Campbell is with us. He is a technical development director for fiber, engineered materials, and turf at Americhem. He's going to be leading a seminar, as a matter of fact, for Americhem U. Here, we're going to talk about it in a minute. Larry, how are you?
I am good.
It's great to have you with us,
well,
and this is a spectacular room here, too, with all these colors and the various light you can do. I want you to show us a little bit about this, if you would, before we finish.
Okay, we can do that.
Now, your seminar is scheduled for April 18th, and it is basically called The Impact of Weathering on Outdoor Product Durability. And this was originally scheduled, I think, this month, and you've moved it. There's a lunch included in this, I have to add.
There's a lunch included, so.
That would get me out, I think. And it's up at the Trade Center.
Yeah.
Color is fascinating to me, and everybody sees it. It's a lot to do with the decisions we make in buying products, and how it gets into these products, to me, and I expect many people out there, is a mystery. And that was one of the things I wanted to talk about this morning. First, let me ask you how you got in the color business in the first place.
Well, that's a good question. I've been in this type of business for over 41 years now. And shortly after I graduated from Kent State University up in Ohio, I have been at corporate headquarters in Ohio for a number of years, but again, have served at different plant locations in Illinois and Texas, in China, but I do a lot of support at these locations, Dalton, Concord, etc. And I got into this business just because I found it very fascinating in regards to color, and that's I heard about it, and I didn't quite understand anything about color, how you put color into to plastics applications. So I started in a lab, and I have been in laboratory positions again for 41 years now. It's still something that I find interesting and challenging, maybe because of the diverse changes in the whole business segment for the last 40-some years.
Well, I guess over 41 years you've done every job in the place just about, and seen everything, I suppose.
Quite a bit. So not just fibers, but a lot of experience in automotive interior hardware trim, we refer to. In packaging, which would be bottles, extrusion blow molded bottles or stretch blow molded polyester bottles, etc. Done a lot of work in films, done a lot of work in profile extrusion, which goes back to, again, applications such as PVC cladding or decking, those types of applications. So I've had, again, multiplicity of experiences in the field of coloring. So
I see. You mentioned some of these products. Those are very interesting. Do they have a lot of the same problems and challenges that, say, carpet or turf might have?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's true because a lot of the things that we learned about carpet and turf really happened about 30 years ago when we got into PVC siding applications, which was extremely demanding. That is, you're going to put PVC siding on the side of a house, and you want uniform, consistent color, and you don't want it to fade. Well, the same thing is expected with turf fields. You don't want that color to fade. And so there's technology that you have to pick up in regards to the types of pigments that are going to give you the performance. When you get into solution dyed nylon applications or polyester or polypropylene, the heat stability factors that you get into, you have to find pigments that are going to be thermally stable just under process conditions to manufacture the product multiple times, because we have to put this pigment into, or pigments really, when you do color matches, pigments into a polymer that's going to be compatible with the polymer it's going to go into.
Yeah.
And so if we design something for linear low-density polyethylene, we use a linear low-density polyethylene carrier. If we design something for nylon 6, we have to use a nylon 6 carrier for our pigments to go into, again, this application. So the heat stability that you have to consider is multiple times of, high temperature exposure. And then you get into the application. How is the pigment going to perform in an interior application, if it's going to be washed, if it's going to be bleached, for carpet applications, or is it going to be exterior for synthetic turf applications, or whatever that. I mean, all these factors come into play in regards to how you match it and design a product for the application. So
it would sound like the turf and other outdoor products that you work with would be the more difficult.
They are difficult because of just that long demand, and you get interactions between a lot of the additives that you have to put into the polymer. Polypropylene or polyethylene are not inherently light stable. That is, if you put those into exterior applications, they will rapidly decay or degrade, however you want to say that, and that means that your physical properties will be pretty quickly lost.
Right.
So there's additives that you have to put into to those polymers to give them that light stability. And that additive that you put into to the polymer to stabilize it could interact with the pigment, or vice versa. There are pigments that can neutralize the effects of UV stabilizers. So those are cautions that you have to take, and you have to learn that just through experience.
So there's a lot of testing that you do, obviously, to see what works with everything else.
Correct, yeah. A great deal of testing.
I got you.
So.
When I was reading your bio, I saw the words science of color. Are those the things that you've been talking about?
Well, yes, that's also a good question, because when you get into the science of color, it's how you're going to disperse the pigments. That's a science, literally, because you have so many different applications. It's like for fiber applications, synthetic turf is a rather thick filament in that sense. You have something that's about 0.25 millimeters thick. When you get into fine denier textiles, then it's significantly thinner, and so the quality of dispersion that you need for those different applications is totally different. I mean, you have such extremes, and both of them, again, demand what we refer to as process performance. So people don't want to shut a line down and wipe the dyes off or change screen packs. You want to run as long, as many weeks as you possibly can without, changing screen packs or cleaning dyes, etc. Yeah. Whether that is synthetic turf application for, again, monofilament, or if it's, again, a fine denier textile for polyester, or even for spun-bonded polypropylene, melt-blown polypropylene. It's just a very broad range of products that you have to understand from a scientific standpoint of how to disperse it, and then all the additives that you're going to use to disperse it. So there's a lot of science that goes into that.